Sweden prioritizes the issue of solid waste management very highly because it is a global environmental challenge, and its solution is also part of this broader solution of the climate challenge that we're all facing today. And in Ukraine, in addition to the global aspects, we also have a national waste crisis. Over 95% of all household waste in Ukraine is disposed through landfills, and 99% of those landfills are not in line with EU standards, which has grave health, security, and environmental risks for the citizens of Ukraine. In Sweden, we have a fair amount of experience with waste management. In 2018, less than 1% of Swedish waste ended up in landfills, and more than 99% was recycled or reused in some way. Now, our policies on waste management are obviously fully in line with the EU directive on waste management, which in turn is the foundation for Ukraine's efforts to reform its waste management system. And EU policy on waste management is based on a strict hierarchy of how to deal with waste. At the top of the hierarchy is prevention, i.e. reducing the amount of waste produced in a community to begin with. At the next level down comes various forms of recycling and reuse. The third level is transforming waste into energy through, for instance, incineration. And at the very bottom of the hierarchy, what we're trying to avoid as much as possible is disposal, which in the case of Ukraine, for instance, means landfills. Now, coming back to the Swedish example, although we have come a far way in reducing our dependence on landfills, we've also built ourselves into systems which we don't believe are sustainable in the long term, which is the transformation of waste into energy. And this refers to incineration, transformation of waste into energy. Although we've managed to build systems which conform to the highest environmental standards, and although we see positive side effects in terms of district heating and other elements, nevertheless, fundamentally, the burning of waste does remain a burden on the environment and on climate change. So even in the Swedish experience, we see this still as a strategic challenge to move up on this hierarchy. So coming back to the Ukrainian context, I guess what I'm trying to say in describing this hierarchy is that it's much more than infrastructure, it's much more than building plants or building physical systems. It's about transforming the attitude of entire communities to the complex attitude of dealing with waste. And that is one reason why Mayor, we are so particularly pleased to have the opportunity to work with a municipality and a city in Ukraine which is so far developed in its thinking and its attitude to the very complex nature of waste management. We're super excited to be working with the EBRD and EU and Lviv on developing the waste management system in Ukraine. It's extremely important now that the necessary legislation is actually enacted. I've understood that all the necessary groundwork in order to do that is in place, and we believe that your city will be at the forefront of this reform in Ukraine. So thank you so much.